We want to open up talking about the football game tonight. And on paper, looks like a rout. May end up being one, but Kansas City playing against the Denver Broncos. Kansas City, of course, 4-1. Denver 1-4, and Kansas City defending Super Bowl champs. Denver, a team that just a few weeks ago gave up a 70-piece. All right, so They're facing the best quarterback in the league. This could get ugly quickly, but you never know. We'll see. Denver has played them tough. They don't win, but they play them tough. They lost last year's games by a combined 9 points. So we'll see if it is an interesting game. But what is interesting, Rob, is that Sean Payton, the ballyhoo coach from New Orleans, who was supposed to come in and fix everything, has been horrible. Just keep it real. They're 1-4. And again, gave up 70. Russell Wilson, the star quarterback they brought in last year, was horrible last year. This year he's been pretty good. He hasn't been great, but he's been pretty good. But the team is terrible. And Mark, a lot of people are blaming Sean Payton, Rob, and his coaching staff, Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator. But Mark Schlereth, friend of both of ours, he said on his podcast that the players, not the coaching staff, is to blame. Here's Schlereth.
Jerry Jeudy, you can have, I'm not trying to besmirch Jerry Jeudy. I don't even know Jerry Jeudy. But you're a first-round guy who was touted as the most talented receiver in the most talented receiver draft class in the history of the National Football League, and you haven't been worth a squirt of. You really haven't. You've been a bust. Can't stay healthy, don't make plays, disappear, drop the ball. And Cortland said, at this point, Mike, if you're the Broncos, hey, man, it was Vance Joseph's fault. No, wait, it was Vic Fangio's fault. Wait, no, it was Vic Fangio's coordinator, Wrinkles. It was his fault. No. It was Pat Shurmur's fault. No, it was the whole 9 yards fault. It was, we'll get Nate. No, it's Nathaniel Hackett's fault. No, it's all his assistant coach's fault, right? Now it's Sean Payton's fault. At some point, don't you have to hold the players accountable? And don't you have to start moving off the players you have on your roster?
You know what? Stink. I love it. I mean, he's a player. He's ripping on players, Chris. I get all that. But he's giving Sean Payton a big pass, and I got a problem with that. Because Sean Payton was brought in to fix what was going on there. And you just can't use that as a blanket statement. Those aren't all the same players that you just – if they had the same roster, Chris, the same 53-man that he just named 8 coaches – if the same 53 were playing and they were all bad under all those coaches, I would buy it. They got a top 5 defense the last 2 years. Come on, Stink. That ain't even fair. Come on. Sean Payton was brought in to fix this. And if you have a coach that has players that give up a 70-piece, as you brought up, Chris, with fries and a large drink, there's a problem. And it starts at the top. And if you want to say that him hiring Vance Joseph was a problem and changing the defensive scheme or whatever, but don't sit here and tell me that, because if the Broncos were 4-1, Chris, don't tell me that Stink would be on there right now praising the players, because it wouldn't happen. The conversation.
I think he would probably. Obviously, Payton would get a ton of the credit, but I think he'd give the players credit too. But Payton would probably be getting the lion's share.
No doubt, because
Wilson, the way Wilson's if Wilson were playing the way he is now and they're 4-1, I think he'd be getting a lot of credit too.
Yeah, but it would be the new piece is Sean Payton, and he would be getting credit for under Hackett they didn't know what they were doing or whatever it is. My only point is, you can't have it both ways. You can't give the coach credit when things are good. And, I've heard this today. I was on MLB Network, Chris, with Brian Kenny. And I hear this all the time. Don't blame Dane Roberts. He's not pitching. He's not hitting. He didn't go 1 for the series like Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and all that. I get that. But when they won a World Series, he got credit because you know what? The players came through for him. The players, when they come through, the managers get new contract extensions, Chris. Managers go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Coaches go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So you can't have it both ways. If we're going to give the coaches credit when things work out and when players come through and get hits and make plays, then when things don't go well, otherwise you would never have coaches and coaches would never be fired. What would be the reason to fire a coach if it's strictly the players didn't do their jobs? It's bigger than that. That's why coaching is important. And in this case, I think it's an easy way out to give Sean Payton a pass. If this was almost any other coach, Chris, a Nathaniel Hackett, who didn't even start 1-4 last year, or some first-time coach, or some guy who hadn't won a Super Bowl and didn't have that in their back pocket, people would be killing this guy.
Yeah, I don't know the full context, and Rob G, if you do know, you can pop in. But of Stink's comments, and I don't know if he's like treated Payton with kid gloves or not. If he has called it out like it is with Payton and Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, and also is saying what we just heard from him about the players, then I'm good with that. Because the fact is, it is an equal opportunity disgrace. All of these, from Sean Payton to Vance Joseph and the rest of the coaches to the players, they all need to be getting ripped. So if he has been balanced and fair about it, then I'm not going to jump on him for calling out the players. Because the players, when you, Rob, for them to give up 70, and look, we've been critical of Sean Payton. I've been critical of Sean Payton on this show and on First Things First on TV. So I'm not trying to treat him, with kid gloves. But I'm just saying the players also, when you give up 70, come on. Y'all not that bad to give up 70. So that's something on the players. And look, Stink, of course, played with the Denver Broncos, won a Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos. So he is obviously, Rob, talking to people out there. He lives out there. Now, that could be good or bad, right? You know this, Rob. That could be
who's
him
telling
getting
you your information.
Right. That could be him at practice, watching, seeing foolishness going on with the players, right? Or even talking to some players on the team who are telling them, man, dudes ain't bought in. We didn't come with the right attitude this year, whatever. Or, and that's good if he's getting it that way. Or to your point, he could be getting it from Sean Payton or the coach, somebody on the coaching staff or the front office or whatever, right? Guys protecting themselves. What it is this though, Rob. He knew something was happening, right? Because Jerry Jeudy today, when Rob G. Schlereth said that yesterday, because yesterday, Rob G., Jerry Jeudy, now there's a report that he's on the trading block. Frank Clark is going to be traded. Randy Gregory, Rob, who was their big signing last year, he was cutting in, traded. And so they are cleaning house. They're cleaning house. And if they get shellacked tonight, which there's probably about a 75% chance they do, they're going to get beat most likely, but a 75% chance they get smashed.
I don't know. That 10.5 is very appetizing.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City does play to the
and
competition.
They don't cover that.
They don't
often,
cover
Chris,
a lot. So
right?
I'll give you that.
Yeah, they don't cover
Yeah, I'll
that.
give you that. But,
they'll win.
They
they'll
should
win.
Get right.
They'll win.
But if they lose tonight, they're obviously conceding. It looks like they already have. And so Schlereth knew something, Rob. And again, it might have been legit.
He's plugged in. He's been there for 30 years.
Yeah,
he's got a local radio show. He's plugged into that community. Not always. Remember, The Aaron Rodgers deal was a done deal, he said, too, a few years ago.
Right.
You remember
He was
that?
wrong
and it didn't
about
happen.
that,
Right, but that was somebody he had talked to in the front office. You're not going to be right on everything, but he's plugged in, Stink. He is.
Yeah, so he knew this was coming. And the interesting thing, and we'll go to the callers in a moment, Rob, is, I mean, have they already decided they're moving on from Russell Wilson? You know, that he's going to be cut, and he's played well enough where some team will go out there and get him, I would think. But are they already ready to give up on him? Because it looks like they're cleaning house. So we will see. But